thank you for your speech. I'm an investor. We're an investor in Turkey and the region, even Lebanon. We're a Eurobond holders, RBC Blue Bay. Question really about the normalization between Turkey and the US in particular. S-400s, CATSA sanctions. Is there any light at the end of the tunnel over those issues and bringing Turkey back properly, fully into the Western alliance?
Yeah, great question. The answer is absolutely yes. I think there's been more progress in the last 16 months in U.S.-Turkish relationships than in the last 15 years. And the relationship not only between President Erdogan and President Trump, but at every level, at the foreign minister level, at the intelligence level, at the military level, and at the business level. So the question on S-400s, for those of you who don't know, Turkey, after the coup, bought a Russian defense system. There was a variance in opinion. Were we not willing to sell them Patriots, or could they not buy Patriots? But they bought an S-400 system. At the time, Turkey was also, as our second largest NATO ally, this is huge, right? When you think of what that means and what Turkey is doing to protect Europe, it's incredible. Wanted to contribute to the F-35 jet program, and as a matter of fact, was a partner in manufacturing fuselages. When they bought the S-400, Congress then imposed a sanction. And by the way, sanctions, again, in my humble opinion, just from my own point of view, they don't work. Because what happens is the sanctioned country then becomes so smart, so ingenious, that they figure out ways around the sanctions and alliances with other nations that don't serve the U.S.'s benefit. So that's what happened. They went off the F-35 system. But the alliance of the commercial practicality of what's happened in $100 billion of Boeing jets. The Hall Bank transaction was a nightmare. One of the largest banks in Turkey, sanctioned for 10 years, couldn't move. For a great businessman like you, it compromised everything around the world. President Trump and President Erdogan with their team sat down, gone. Hall Bank is now fine. F-16s, renegotiating again. The alliance of the countries. What's happened in Syria, primarily beneficial to Turkey. Turkey and Saudi Arabia deserve so much credit for supporting this burgeoning flower that had blemishes. It was really Turkey. So if you look at what can happen now with the realignment of energy and redistribution of energy from east to west, from Caspian, from Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, what happens with Armenia, those borders. I mean, Turkey is surrounded by 8 countries, 4 seas. It's never been better. The domestic economy, and Minister Shimshek is, I think, to all of us who participate with him, is a genius. It's a very difficult situation, but the relationship between the two countries has never been better. And I think you're going to see the S-400 solution solved soon. From my boss's point of view, acceptance into an F-35 program is fine. Greece has S-300s and F-35s. So the Greece-Turkey issue is, another historic issue. I won't even attempt to get there because they'll forbid me to ever go to Mykonos again. But I think it's great.